NBA season is winding down, and we're not messing around. We're going right to the guest line off the top of episode 72 of Gimme the Hot Sauce, bringing in Stacey's play-by-play partner, Adam Amin. Adam, thanks for joining us today, and you guys are the talk of the town after that furious comeback against the Clippers last night. A lot of fun last night, wasn't it?
That was a lot of fun. DeMar's the talk. I mean, what an incredible, impressive individual performance in a team setting. You know, that's the other thing too. Like, DeMar got 50, but Stacey said it when we were going off the air last night. Just what an incredible team effort. And, you know, there was a great video from the press conference after the game when they were talking with Patrick Williams, and DeMar interrupts the press conference. He goes, "Hey, way to hit that three." And Pat's like, "Way to get 50." And DeMar goes, "No, we don't win the game unless you hit that three." And whether it was Patrick Williams, Kobe White stepped up at big moments, Zach LaVine made big shots and had a couple of key defensive possessions. Vukovich played well. That was really a team effort, and it's going to take that the rest of the way. So it was nice to see that. And I know LA is not elite, but Paul George is Paul George, and that's a really good roster they have, and they might cause some problems if they make it into the playoffs. So that's a good win. Good win no matter what.
I was telling the guys that it felt like a playoff atmosphere last night with the energy in the UC. The crowd was in it. You know, it looked early like the Bulls were going to get ran out of the building. And then all of a sudden, you know, we had talked about, you know, guys stepping up, Patrick Williams stepping up and being more aggressive. And then all of a sudden the second half, he plays almost the entire second half, and Billy went to him.
I mean, he earned those minutes too, right? With what we saw the game prior in Washington, Billy Donovan challenged him and said, "You need to play with force. You need to play with more force, and you need to be physical." And those are the things that Patrick is. The dunk against Hartenstein, that's a strong 7-footer that is a good shot blocker that went up and got a hand on that. I understand maybe it's not the poster that some people want to make it out to be, but like, that's a poster dunk that he fought through a strong dude to make. That's why and you've said it a couple times this week, Stace, because what we saw in Washington and what we saw last night, that's why you get excited about him, because he clearly has these flashes of this talent and this power. He can overpower a game, and you just wonder what this kid's going to be in 4 or 5 years, you know, maybe even 3-4 years. What is he going to be like if he really harnesses this physicality he has at such a young age? He's only going to get stronger, and as he gets more confident and more into the flow of what happens at the NBA level. And again, I understand he was gone for 5 months. That's a lot to ask for anybody, let alone a second-year player who's played 83 games now. But Patrick Williams can overtake a game, I think, at some point in his career, and I think he's shown flashes of that. That's why you get excited about it.
Yeah, the Williams dunk was great, but let's face it, DeMar DeRozan brought the house down, and then anytime Stacey speaks French, it takes the broadcast to a different level.
You gotta understand something, man. When, much like a good dunker, when they see that runway open up, they got to take it. And my man saw that runway open, and my man, he took it and took off. And I loved it, man. I knew he had something in the holster ready. So I try to get, and again, I hope this is why people appreciate what Stacey does. I hope they think I fit well with him, because I got to punch and go. I got to punch it, and then I'm out of the way, because I know he's got something locked and loaded. And man, last night felt like that felt like the real first one, Stace. You know what I mean? Like when I had the DeRozan game winner at Indiana, that felt like the first time I really felt like, yeah, we got one. You know, like that's one for us too. And last night for me felt like the first time since I've sat next to you, because last year doesn't count.
No.
This year with the crowd, the energy, home game, considering the circumstances of that being a comeback against a play-in or playoff caliber team, coming back from down 11 with 4.5 to go, that felt like the first real one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I felt that one last night. That was a blast, man.
What I tell people all the time, because everybody, we all love Neil. And Neil was awesome to work with, and he really allowed me to be who I am today. But I tell you what, when I'm working with Adam, and it's like we can finish each other's thoughts. Like we can, if we're talking about a movie, he knows what I'm talking about. If I'm talking about a song, he knows what I'm talking about. And we just play so well off each other. And so even last night, I was watching a little bit of the highlights last night, and I'm like, man, it seems like we've been working together for like 20 years. It's so smooth. The transition has been so flawless, basically. And I really, really have a lot of fun. It's been, since we hired him, I've been reinvigorated. Because there was a point where I was like, man, when Neil rode off in the sunset like Shane, I was ready to get on the horse and ride with him. But then we got my boy Adam out there, man. He just reinvigorated me. So, yeah, I'm having a blast.
No, man. But the thing, too, and you mentioned Neil, and I was so happy. I was talking with a friend of mine about this the other day. I was so happy when he got to come back. That really made me happy. And I know it made you happy that we got a chance to be, and to be there, too.
Yeah.
Because if he had had a normal, send off, and obviously we would have loved it. He certainly deserved it much sooner than he got it, this time around. But I was happy, and the circumstances played up that I got to be there for that, because that meant a lot to me. And I sat in the truck during the third quarter when Neil came in, or second quarter when Neil came in, and I just enjoyed it. I just sat there with Mark and Tamara and Russ and the crew, and I watched it from the truck, and I enjoyed it like a fan. And I just had a ball listening to it. And the thing I remember most from Neil is what you just described, Stace, is that he set the blueprint for how to work with a personality. Like that. I think more play-by-play guys would be better suited. Maybe it would behoove them to try to bring more out from some of their partners, because I think sometimes we get in our own heads. Don't get me wrong, I love having a fun call and hitting one. Yeah, they play the highlight on whatever, and that's great. But it's more fun when it's a duo, when it's a team, when you and I both get to be a part of it. Now, I really enjoy that Neil laid the blueprint for how to do that. To punch and get out, to hit, do your job, but get out of the way, because something's coming that's going to elevate the game, elevate the broadcast, elevate the play that we just saw, and make the call that much better. So he laid the blueprint for all of us, man.
Yeah, and Adam, I remember that night when Neil came back, you and Stacey were in the crossover segment with the guys during pregame, and you got emotional talking about Neil. Obviously, he had an impact on your career, and I know that being a guy who grew up in this area, you don't take it lightly that you've been entrusted with this role as the Bulls play-by-play voice.
Very much so. You're right, Mark. And the difference with Neil is that I don't have my style modeled as much after Neil. My style was more after Jim Durham, especially when I first started doing the NBA. I started on radio. So I really took a lot from Jim. I still to this day have cassette tapes of Jim Durham's calls from the 06 NBA finals, the 07 playoffs, the 09 finals, of Dwayne Wade in Game 3 scoring 42 against the Mavericks in this incredible comeback. We're talking about comebacks. The Heat had this incredible comeback, and Jim sounded like it was 1988, and he was he had found like the fountain of youth that night. And I'm listening to him and Dr. Jack Ramsey do the broadcast, and it's just ingrained in my mind where Wade hits the free throw to put him over the top after they'd been trailing for the entire game, and said they've finally climbed the mountain. And I did that call is embedded into my head. So I took a lot of Jim Durham as a play-by-play announcer. But what Neil is to me is my childhood. That's the guy, that's the fan in me. The technical side of me, the mechanical side of me, the professional side of me is more Jim. But the kid in me, the fan in me, the hopeful kid hoping that they're going to win, make this shot and win the title, that's Neil to me. So that's probably why I got so emotional when I got a chance to, again, that's another reason I'm so thankful that it did work out the way it did. Selfishly, I know, but I'm glad it worked out the way it did, because I got to be there for that send-off and to hear his last call and to be in the truck for it.
All right, Adam, let's talk about what the Bulls need to do tomorrow night. We know it's a big game tomorrow night against Miami. We haven't had success against Miami this year. What do the Bulls have to do to win that game tomorrow at home?
I mean, you have to match their physicality. Yeah, like we've talked about this, and you were watching the game the other night, right, against Boston, and they play a physical style with their starting unit. They're a physical group, and the guys that they have brought back in, and who they have on on their 3-and-D guys that they've added. I know Duncan Robinson's not a defender, but everybody else on that team and that starting lineup works on defense, and you have to match their physicality. I'm glad to see Patrick Williams hitting these physical benchmarks the last couple of games, because he's going to have to do that against the front line. Whether he's starting, whether he's coming off the bench. He started the second half the other night with Caruso dealing with some of the back issues. It's going to take that level of physicality to play, because this is going to be as close to a playoff test as you're going to get, I think, down the stretch. This in Milwaukee, and I guess Boston too, because you might play them. But Miami plays a playoff style of basketball. How they defend, how they're physical with you on the defensive end. You have to be careful with the basketball. You can't turn it over against them, because the more run out opportunities they have, the better they feel. They shoot in transition. So I think it starts with matching the physicality. And I think a lot of the problems that the Bulls have had at times this year are mitigated or outright negated by being physical with the other team.
I'm not real good at math, but I know that yesterday the Bulls winning and Cleveland losing put them up 3, and they hold a tiebreaker. So I think mentally you've cleared a hurdle. I don't think the Bulls have to worry about the play-in tournament anymore, which I think was kind of hanging over everybody's head. DeMar scores 50. Patrick Williams has a big game. You're kind of healthy. You're still waiting on Lonzo. Do you think they cleared a hurdle last night with that thrilling win, and maybe they can play a little freer the rest of the way, Adam?
I'd like to see them at least take 1 or 2 more against these next 3. I think it would be tough to lose 3 straight against those caliber of teams. So I think if they can pick up one of these games, Miami, Milwaukee, Boston, I think that's a big boon, because you just need to know that you can. You haven't beaten Miami. You haven't beaten Milwaukee. You've beaten Boston, but that was a little earlier in the year, and you played a knockdown drag out the second time. So I think getting 1 or 2 of these games, or at the very least being competitive in all 3, gives you a good feeling going into the playoffs. I think that win last night, we asked DeMar about it in the postgame, and I told him I want to frame this in the context of what this means as you're trying to bring this team along to realize what it takes in a playoff setting. I think that was a big win because of that. All right, you can do it. You can play physical. You can defend. You can play from down and still be able to come back by executing at both ends rather than feeling like you got to jack up shots. That's a big hurdle to climb. I think if you can do it again against an even higher caliber team, at least once, twice, maybe be competitive in all 3, I think that's another hurdle to climb before you go to the playoffs.
Well, I'm always about the goals, setting goals for this team, because I feel like they have to have the mental mindset. And we talk about this, on broadcasts and all the things we talk about behind the scenes, how important for this team to get into a playoff mindset going in. And so these remaining games, there's a couple things at stake here. Even though they're not have to worry about the play-in game, there's still the goal of trying to win 50 games. Yep. And that's a tangible goal that's still out there. They'd have to run the table and finish out, undefeated with these last 5 games, but that is a tangible goal. And then also having the confidence to say, oh, we beat Boston, we beat Milwaukee, we beat the Clippers after we were down 16 points. Now that helps their attitude going into a playoff series. And so that's why I think these games are so important. They've got to win these games.
I think you and Will brought this up the other night or at some point this week about trying to win 4 out of 7, right? You had 7 games left going into the Washington game on Tuesday. Try to win 4 out of 7. Now you're playing high caliber teams, playoff and play-in teams pretty much the rest of the way after Washington. So if you can win 4 out of 7, or they need 3 wins to get to 48. When you win 48 out of 72, that's 2/3 of the games that you play, you win. You win 2 out of every 3 games in baseball. It's a pretty darn good percentage. I think that applies here too. You win 2 out of every 3 games, you're going to find yourself in a successful position in some capacity. And part of, again, you win 48. Some years you might be the 4, some years you might be the 3. I think the difference is this year, the East is really tough. Especially the top of the East has proven it is really, really good. That game between Milwaukee and Brooklyn we saw the other night with Boston and Miami, top of this conference is really, really good. So if you can get to 48, win 2 out of every 3 games after you win 31 out of 72 the year prior, that's a great goal. That's a good feeling to have. If you're gonna win some of those games, that means you've beaten good teams to get there. So I think everything you said, Stacey, I think all that applies. I think you need to grab some confidence wherever you can get it, especially for a team that was wavering for a few weeks this month, especially after DeRozan kind of went into a little bit of a shooting slump, and it wasn't, I don't even want to call it a slump. It just wasn't what it was in February, which was an impossible feat to begin with. So I think anywhere you can grab confidence going into this last week and go into the playoffs and know that you're going to have some rest. You're going to have a few days off as the play-in games are being played. You're going to have some time. You'll have time to prepare potentially for your opponent, especially if you are, actually you will. If you're the 5 or the 6, you already know your opponent, unlike the 1 and the 2. So you can prepare for those 2, 3, 4 days and really lock in and get yourself ready for a playoff series, knowing that you've done really well down the stretch.
You guys are back on the road, and it has been a daunting amount of travel that you guys had the last month or so.
Oh, Lord!
You went west, then you went east to New York and Washington. What does an Adam Amin like to do on the road?
I'm a homebody, man, legitimately. I have friends in some cities, and I'll go grab dinner with them and things of that nature. But
Magic City. Lemon pepper wings.
Lemon
pepper wings.
You can get them on DoorDash, in fact. I've honestly never been. Maybe one of these days, we'll see. But I've ordered the food, and the food's really good. I'm more of a homebody. I like to relax, especially because this is such a grind. This past month really was a grind. And again, we're not digging ditches for a living. I understand that. I'm just talking in the context of what Stacey and I and our crew and the players do. It just wears on you is all. Just missing your home, missing your family, missing your significant others, missing your pets, all that stuff. That still matters too. So being away, it's mentally taxing, a little bit physically taxing. I've tried to do better. Stacey and I have tried to do better with diet and exercise and all that stuff. So that helps when I can stay in a routine a little bit. And I know Stacey feels the same way. But I'm more of a homebody, man. I used to go out. I used to get after it. If it was my 20s and my early 30s, I probably would have been out there. Who knows? But I think right now I enjoy kind of relaxing, finding some downtime, getting a massage if I can once in a while, getting a workout in, finding a good meal. But that's more my tempo now, I think.
Adam, what do you think about everybody trying to avoid Brooklyn in the playoffs? You're hearing all these rumors, these conspiracy theories that nobody wants to be number 2. Everybody wants to be 1 or 3 or anything. Nobody wants to see Brooklyn in the first round.
I started that.
Oh, Mark Zanowski.
We were talking about that earlier.
We got to give Mark Zanowski credit on that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
America.
there you go.
America, he asked that question.
Adam, I grew up in Milwaukee, and my Bucks are defending champs. I don't want to play Brooklyn in the first round.
I mean, that's what, again, another thing we're talking about with the depth of the East this year, right? We don't know what Brooklyn we're going to get. Right. That's the thing. And we still haven't seen enough of the sample size at home with Kyrie Irving to play significantly every single game and to be in a rhythm. That's what we're talking about, right? With the Bulls. Rhythm is really important, especially when you are going to get a few days in between. It's not like you're going to keep this train moving if you've got some momentum. You got to stop the season, prep, start a new series, start the playoffs, start your new season, essentially. So I think getting into a flow, if Brooklyn is in a rhythm, those two guys can carry a series. Kyrie and KD can carry a series. Here's kind of what I've learned the last few years just doing playoff games, and I know Stacey feels this because he played in it. If you have a superstar, and I'm going to say DeMar DeRozan is a superstar in terms of caliber of play. If you have a superstar, they need to win you 1 or 2 games in a playoff series, in a best of 7. And the expectation is that at some point in that series, if that superstar is going to live up to expectation, they're going to win you 1 or 2 games in that series. The rest of the games that you win have to be team effort. They have to be won at the defensive end of the floor. They have to be won with physicality. And you need some breaks and you need to make shots. But a superstar can carry you for 1 or 2 games. Brooklyn has 2 superstars that can carry you for an entire series. That scares you. That's why Milwaukee or Philadelphia or Miami doesn't want to run into Brooklyn in a 2-7 or a 1-8 matchup in the first round of the playoffs because they have enough firepower. They've proven it. In the month of March, DeMar had 50, so did Kyrie and KD. So they can carry a series. Brown and Tatum, I don't think have proven that they can carry a series. They can win you 1 or 2 games. They haven't proven it just yet to get you all the way there, the way that Durant and Irving have. Miami has a superstar or 2 that can carry you for a couple of games, but will they win you an entire series? I don't think so. Milwaukee has it and Brooklyn has it. And I think that's what separates those 2 teams. And that's what makes Brooklyn as intriguing and scary as they are, because it's the land of the unknown. You don't really know what you're going to get, but you know what they're capable of.
Yeah, I think normally when a team finishes first or second in a conference, they look at, well, the benefit of that is we'll have home court throughout, and we'll probably have a first-round series that's fairly easy. And that's
been the case the last several years, Mark. The last few years, that's been the case. That's been the case the last few years. The 1-8 has been – I know Orlando won a game against Toronto. I think the Raptors might have gotten one against Milwaukee at one point, but typically 1-8 has been 4 or 5 and you're out. You don't really have to go that deep. Unlike, the Bulls, I think, carried it to 7, right, in the 1-8 matchup a few years back, last time they're in the playoffs. But typically, you coast in that series because you know you're going to win 4 out of 5 or 6.
Yeah, now 7-8 looks like it's probably going to be Brooklyn, and I think Atlanta will get 8. So you're playing maybe Brooklyn as the 2 seed plays Brooklyn, and the 1 seed gets the Hawks, who made the conference finals last year. I mean, there's no gimmies in the East.
No, that's the depth. That's what's different this year in the East. Like I said, the last 5 or 6 years, it probably hasn't felt that way. But right now, it feels that way. It feels like a 7-8, a 1-8 and a 2-7 matchup could go 6 or maybe 7. Those are teams that can push you to the brink. So I'm fascinated by it. I don't think there's a weak team in the East at all in the top 8. I don't think there's a weak team. I think some teams are stronger than others, but everybody gives you something. everybody has something that they lean on that makes it difficult on you for at least one game in a playoff series, whether it's LaMelo and the combination of weapons he has around him in Charlotte, whether it's Trae Young's ability to go off, whether it's the Raptors' wing depth and their length on the perimeter. Everybody's got something.
Tell our listeners a little bit. I know how important he is to the team, Lonzo Ball. And we, as both of us, we know how important because we see it every night. Give our listeners a little bit of information on Lonzo and how important he is to this team.
You and I were having a discussion about this the other day. This is a point of attack league. The NBA is the point of attack being where the pick and roll starts because it's a pick and roll league. So the point of attack where everything begins to develop in a first action on offense or in an action in general on offense. If you can disrupt that, you have a significant amount more success on the defensive end than other teams do. This is what makes Golden State really good. It's what makes Boston really good. It's what made the Bulls really good in that first stretch of the season when everybody was healthy and together. Why they were able to hold a Clipper team to 90 points early in the season. Why we saw all those under 100 performances by the Bulls defense in the early part of the season. Lonzo Ball's length, his IQ, his hands, along with what Caruso does, and I would compliment the same things for Caruso that I do for Lonzo, they know how to disrupt plays. And when you watch Kobe White have a game like he had last night, where he's had flashes, where he can disrupt that initial screen and blow up the point of attack on that pick and roll, those are the nights where the Bulls can stay in it defensively. When Ayo has nights like that, and the reason they don't have nights like that every night is because they haven't done it consistently for the first parts of their career. They're getting there. They're learning how to do it. They have examples of how to do it in Ball and right now, for the time being, Caruso. When you can do that, disrupt that point of attack, it takes pressure off the second and third layer of your defense. It's like football. And Stacey loves football analogies. It's like an NFL defense. You got your defensive line, you got your linebackers, and you got your secondary. The secondary in this case is the last line of defense who comes over for help. The second layer of defense is the guy who may show or help on that initial point of attack. And your defensive line, your Aaron Donalds, your Myles Garretts, are the Lonzo Balls, the Alex Carusos, the Jimmy Butlers, the hassling guards that bother you at the start of your pick and roll that disrupt your flow. That's the defensive lineman. That's getting sacks in the NBA. That's how you do that. When you blow up the point of attack in the pick and roll, that's how you get sacks. That's your pass rush, so to speak. And if you can do that consistently, like Boston, Miami, et cetera, Milwaukee, teams like that do, you're going to have more success at the defensive end. You're going to be in more games in the playoffs.
Hey, Adam, we had Joel Myers on the show last week, and he's
the pipes.
Yeah, one of the originals, and a man for all seasons, doing every major sport, and he talked about the preparation involved. You're getting ready to head into your baseball season for Fox Sports. Have you been keeping an eye on spring training and the goings on? I guess you have to, because once you jump in, you're going to be going 100 miles an hour again.
Yeah, and it's such a cumulative season. It's a little bit easier to parachute in for the NBA or the NFL or what have you, but baseball is such an everyday sport. So, a lot of it right now, because I don't really pay attention to spring training numbers because they really don't tell you a whole lot, especially when guys aren't full on game shape just yet. I think what's more important is the acquisitions the teams are making. While we're talking, the Sox made a move today, right? They traded Craig Kimbrell to the Dodgers to get an outfielder who's a very good one, an AJ Pollock. And then they found out Garrett Crochet needs Tommy John. So how are you going to fill these slots in the bullpen? So those stories at the start of the season matter come September. And then when I jump in for the playoffs in October, those are the storylines that you track. What's a bullpen storyline for the White Sox? Well, they lost one of their best left-handed reliever, or one of their best relievers early in the season in spring training. And they had, the same day that they traded away, their eighth inning guy from a season ago. So you have to track those things all the way from the start. And the more engaged I am now, the easier it is for me in October. Because I'm not, I respect Jason and Len and Boog and all these guys and Pat, the guys that do the baseball teams in our city. They're in it every day. And Jason does national, Boog does national, Len's done it as well, but they're in it every day, and it's so cumulative. So, I got to make sure to stay on top of it as much as possible so that in October, I still remember some of these important storylines that took place.
One of the hardest working men in sports today. We're going to switch gears now because we went from basketball to baseball, but we're going to NFL. What is your thought of all the movement that's going on in the NFL, from the broadcasting part of it to the players switching teams and going different places? Give us a little take on what you feel about that there, Mr. Double A.
Oh man, baby. It's been wild. The wildest offseason ever is the tagline that everybody likes to use. But it's very much in terms of transactions. Yes, I think it's shifted the tenor a little bit of the leagues. I think balance is good. So you need quarterbacks, solid quarterbacks in both leagues. So it helps. So I work for Fox, and most of our games, not all, but most are NFC games. So it helps to have Tom Brady back with Tampa Bay to be able to discuss him, to be able to talk about the NFC South having a marquee quarterback as the other teams try to figure things out. It helps to see Justin Fields in Chicago know he's going to be the guy. You got him, you got Rodgers, you got Cousins locked into Minnesota. Like, it gives you a little bit more of a clear picture. And now as you see Russell Wilson move, as you see Von Miller go to Dallas, Bobby Wagner staying in the same division in the NFC West and going to Los Angeles to kind of fill that gap at middle linebacker that they had lost last year. I think this is what makes the league fun. It's a 12-month out of the year league. And to see how this plays out is crazy. But it's fun for us, especially when you get to do, let's say we do Denver week 1. You get to do Russell Wilson's Denver debut. You get to do the Cowboys week 1. It's Von Miller's Dallas Cowboy debut back in the state that he did so much good work in when he was in college. So all these storylines are great. As for the broadcasting side of it's becoming just as much of a Wild West as it ever has, man. Like, it's a real cottage industry to cover this. And when you cover something and make it seem like a big deal, and when there's money figures involved the way they have been for some of the top guys, it becomes more of a big deal to more people. So I still contend that most people don't care who's announced in their football games, as long as they're palatable and they're accurate and they're not putting you to sleep. I think they just want to get through the game on Sunday with the best information possible, disseminated at the right time, and hopefully you're just trying not to bother anybody when you're doing these broadcasts. I want to have a good time. I hope the game's good, but I'm not trying to bug you. I just want to do the game and get out. And I don't think most people really care that much, but it's fun to see the carousel because now people are starting to get a little bit more intrigued about the top of this industry. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and if they offered you $15 million to do Monday Night Football, you probably would say yes, right?
I mean, not only for the money, which is crazy, right? I mean, I'm shocked that people pay this much money to hear people talk about football, but I'm not going to complain about it. Like, hey, hopefully I get to that point someday too. But the other part of it too is the NFL is still king.
Right.
It is still the king sport in this country. And it's the most viewers, it's the most care, it's the most eyeballs, it's the most exposure. Oftentimes it is very, very fun. It is just a good time to call an NFL game, especially a good NFL game with great players, trading punches all the way down to the wire. It's fun. So if somebody were to say, hey, you're the voice, you get to be the voice of Monday Night Football, you're going to call this. I'm so happy for Kevin Burkhardt. He's done a great job as the number 2 guy. He's a great human and does an awesome job. And he's going to get to call 2 of the next 3 Super Bowls. That's a big deal in our industry. So, I'm happy for him that he gets to be the guy. And hopefully that means something for me. And if it doesn't, no big deal. I still have a great gig and a long way to go, hopefully. So it's wild to see what the future of this business may end up looking like. It's crazy.
Yeah, Adam is so busy doing so many things, he can't even make his bed behind him. Is that what I'm seeing behind over your shoulder?
Pretty much, yeah.
The life of a bachelor, right, Stacey?
Wow. He just put you on Front Street, threw him under the bus. That's what Mark Shanowski does nowadays.
Hey,
Andrew Galata, bite you in the ear.
Conspiracy theories start with Mark Shanowski. That's what we learned.
That's right.
Yes.
Adam, we really appreciate you taking some time. We're really excited about that first-round playoff series that you and Stacey get to call, and hopefully a great playoff run for the Bulls coming up.
No, I appreciate it, boys. Thank you very much.
Hey, you just get ready for tomorrow, and I'm going to bring my Mountain Dew Zero. We got that caffeine going. Yeah, just in case. We got to hit that caffeine buzz. Be ready, baby.
Thanks, babe.
The great Adam Amin, our guest, episode 72 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. Coming up next, we're going to talk a little Final Four and the slap heard around the world. Stacey weighs in on Chris Rock.
I'm definitely going to weigh in. You don't want to miss this, America. You don't want to miss
that. That's coming up next.
2-piece and a biscuit.
2-piece and a biscuit and a pineapple soda.
And we ain't talking about chicken.
Yeah, we ain't talking about chicken, America.
Episode 72 of Gimme the Hot Sauce rolls on. We want to start out by talking about our good friend Jeff Vukovich. When it comes to insurance for your auto, home, and business, make sure you contact the king of insurance. That's nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich at jeffvuk.com. That's jeffvuk.com. And Stacey's got the golden pipes ready for our next segment.
You know what, Mark? Today's a different day. It's Friday. I'm passing it over to my good friend Timmy Whispers.
Tim hasn't said a thing yet.
Said a damn word. So now let's say this here.
Last time I did that, I was accused of being a country singer.
Okay,
let's try it again.
Let's try it again. Give that a chance. Here we go.
Hold on.
Oh my God, this guy. He's not ready for the moment.
For those listening on the podcast, not watching on YouTube, he's now drinking water.
He's drinking water.
All right, here we go. Nationwide is on your side.
Started out okay, but then
you know what? America.
I have no claims.
America. This is the reason why he doesn't sing the Nationwide. Okay? He drank some water and he tried to loosen up.
Could you imagine if I didn't drink the water?
His pipes were rusty. Okay? So he drank some water to try to lube up the pipe. There's a reason why that I sang it and he doesn't. But this was your day because you haven't said a word the whole day. We didn't even know I thought your lips were sewn together during the interview. So I just want to make sure you're alive over there. Okay? Are you all right over there?
I'm barely alive. But
okay, thank you. All right.
And our guy Jeff Vukovich, he brings his A game every day.
Yes.
So make sure if you have any auto, home, or business needs, contact the king of insurance, Jeff Vukovich, jeffvuk.com, and he's always got his A game.
And you know what? And he's a guy you can trust.
That's right.
Yeah, seriously. Like America, I wouldn't just be telling you this about Vooch. Vooch is a good guy, man. He's a guy you can trust. Yeah.
Sorry to let you down.
No, seriously. Listen, I buy my insurance from Jeff, so I just want everybody to know that out there. So I just want to throw that out there. If I'm doing it, you need to do it.
You know what else is a great product?
Oh, Mark, don't interrupt me again.
I didn't know you were going to sing.
Nationwide is on your side.
Wow.
That's how it's done, Whispers.
It's a special 2-for-1 Friday.
You don't sound like Buck Owens, okay? you gotta be able to sing it with some soul. You know, you were singing it like you was at.
You gave me the chills.
You were singing it like you was at a Lone Star restaurant with peanuts on the floor. You got to be able to sing it with some soul.
They don't let me sing there either.
I don't blame them. Oh my goodness, you would have got booed off the stage at the Apollo.
That's why I need that chicken wire up in front of me. Like Blues Brothers.
Or the Roadhouse.
Yeah,
the blind singer was singing, and they were throwing beer bottles at the chicken wire. Yeah, that would have hit you though. That chicken wire, those bottles was getting in there.
Oh, they're getting in there.
Oh, look at DJ Pavel.
Pavel's
coming through. He's awake, America. He's another guy falling asleep on a Friday. Look at him. You can't see him, America.
Yeah, but you know what Pavel did have in the past couple days?
What?
Some new hot sauce.
Oh!
Hey, you got some product placement. Why don't you show the folks what?
Where's it at? Hold on. Oh. America. America, you asked for it. You asked for it. We've been listening to the people, and we are pleasing the people. We have now brought out the new hot sauce, our fourth flavor. Chicago Fire 1871 is spicy and hot like my girlfriend Dawn. Yeah.
I just got chills again.
No, listen, everybody wanted a hot one, so we spiced this one up. It was it's really hot.
It can take off a rusty bolt.
Yeah, it's really hot, America. I'm filing a disclaimer. So if you happen to burn your tongue or
splash in your eye,
or it gets in your eye, we're not responsible for that. But it is a very good flavor. It still has our little garlic twist to it, but it's a lot hotter than it's a 10 on a 10.
It's a Carolina Reaper.
No, it ain't no Carolina. Is it a Carolina Reaper? Really?
100%.
Oh, I'm
not
gonna
100%. But.
Well, listen. Well, what was the one that what was the first taste test we had that made Pavel sick?
Well, we just put test names on it. It was Atomic.
It was Atomic. Well, America, we decided to scrap that idea. Okay,
it'll make you a rough.
Listen. We decided to scrap that idea because the simple fact we saw a man almost die. Okay, and I felt bad for Pavel because Pavel, he's from Russia. Okay, everybody thinks we're joking. Pavel is from Russia. Okay, and he has an iron cast stomach. He can take anything. He drink a bottle of gasoline. Okay, that's how his stomach is. It's cast iron. But when we gave him the Atomic,
His eyes were sweating.
His eyes was bleeding. They wasn't sweating. They was bleeding,
His ears
America.
were sweating.
Hey, I need you. Anybody have any milk? That's what he kept saying. Like milk. Like, weren't you the same guy saying that it wasn't hot? You could take anything. Now you want
cheese.
milk? Yeah. Anybody have any cheese? Any milk? I've been broken. No, he wasn't saying, I will break you, America. He was saying, I've been broken. Does anyone have a trash can?
Now I understand you.
Oh, look at him.
Follow me purposely. There was laugh.
America, can you hear Pavel back there? Pavel doesn't get to say anything. He doesn't want to be on camera because he's on America's Most Wanted list, okay? So we don't want anybody to see what he looks like, okay? Because he's a reward for this guy, okay?
Careful.
So we got to be careful,
Yeah.
okay? And his name ain't Pavel for real, okay? His name's not Pavel, okay? I'm just going to tell you that right now. It's Dolph. It's Dolph Lundgren. So we're going to keep him in the shadows back here. We don't nobody know where he's at, but he is an important part of this show. Okay? Just because we don't show him on the show doesn't mean he's not important. He is important. So, Pop, I just want to say to you, this Chicago Fire 1871 is to you, buddy. You have something to say, Pop, in the background? Ladies and gentlemen, I think Paul's
got nothing to say.
You all right back there, Bella?
He's looking for a sound effect, but I think can't.
Are you listening for the sound effects?
Yeah, but
Like that's
Where's the guns at, Papa? Give me the guns.
no.
He's hitting the chickens. He's hitting the chickens. See, we give Pavel the big moment,
I know.
and then he fell off the stage.
Yeah,
He
what
fell
are
off
you
the
gonna do?
stage. About as bad as Chris Rock.
Where's the barf sound?
Hey, where's the slap to the face? That's what we need. We need a slap to the face sound effect. That would be cool. So one of y'all say something stupid, like Tim, we just slap him. Pow! Timmy whispers, slap to the face.
Well, since you went there, obviously it's talked about ever since Sunday. Will Smith going on stage, allegedly to protect his wife, but I'm not sure exactly what his motive was there. But the slap heard around the world. What's your whole take on that, Stace?
Embarrassment, number one. Embarrassment, number one. Disappointment, because these are two guys that are at the highest level of entertainment, and a lot of people look. What the hell is that?
I don't know.
Okay, see, now this is like the kid playing in class.
Yeah, Tim's phone went off.
Yeah, Tim's getting a phone
I had
call.
a slap first, and then it went to the next video.
Okay, this guy. This guy's over here looking at porn on the show. Wow.
There we go.
Smacking. What are you doing over there, Tim?
He's got a fourth grader's attention.
Yeah, he's got 2 seconds. Okay, we're America.
Technology is your
America. Disregard Timmy Whispers over there. He's in his own little world. You know, like I said, you ever seen the Three Stooges where they X-ray their head and there's like a cage with a bird in it? That's what they find in Timmy Whispers' head, ladies and gentlemen. We X-ray his head, it'd be a bird in a cage, or it could be worse. It could be a.
I did see it. There was a crayon and some
Kendra
loose
Lust.
change. Oh, there was a picture of her. There it is.
There it is right there. So back to the slap heard around the world. Again, disappointment. I mean, those guys are two guys at the highest level. Yeah. But I will say this, it was out of character for Will Smith. If you would have told me, like Wesley Snipes would have done it, if you'd have told me, even Samuel L. Jackson, now these damn snakes on the plane, and when it slapped somebody, I would have believed that too, okay? But Will Smith, I just couldn't see him doing that. That's just completely out of character. It's almost like his wife controlled him. Like when he said, "Hey, Jada, I'm looking forward to seeing the G.I. Jane 2." And then she
laughed first,
and Will was laughing. Yeah. And then he looked over there at her, and her eyes told him, "Take your ass up there," and slapped the shit out of him. And she didn't even move her mouth. She just looked at him, and he could read it through her head. And he was manipulated. He was brainwashed. He just walked up there, and I even thought he was going to do a funny, like the way he was walking. I thought it was going to be a joke, like he was just going to go up there and mess with Chris Rock. But then I saw him reel back, and then I'm looking at Chris Rock like, okay, now I can tell he's not playing, because he's got his hand back. And Chris Rock had the reaction of a 60-year-old boxer that's taking too many punches. He didn't see it coming. Like, I would have moved out the way and countered. I mean, I would have slipped it and came with the left, boom, and put Will Smith down. And then I would say, "How you like that, Hancock?"
I don't think he expected in a million years that Will Smith was going to physically attack him.
Well, listen, he underestimated him. Okay, he slapped the taste out of his mouth. Okay, he slapped the taste out of his mouth. That was one. Listen, we call that where I'm from a bitch slap. Okay, that wasn't like some like I'm just gonna slap you and make a point. That was like an embarrassing slap, and that was like, oh my goodness, that was like one of those pimp slaps. Like, get back on the corner and slapped him. You know what I'm saying? And then Chris Rock just like. At the end, he didn't fall though. That's the one thing I could say about Chris. He could take a slap.
He's flexible.
He didn't budge.
Yeah, but he went way back about 3-4 feet.
But see, when he went back, I thought he was gonna come back with a counter. Like I thought he was gonna just like kind of spring back and throw a punch. But I give him credit though. He to take that and be embarrassed in front of a million people and not respond and not even respond with jokes. Because at the end of the day, listen, we had this discussion. Comedians are comedians.
Right.
Okay, if you go to a comedy store and you walk in and a guy, the comedian picks you out of 100 people and starts giving it to you, are you gonna go? If you say one more word, I'm gonna come up there and I'm gonna hit you. Keep my name out your mouth. Are you gonna say that? No, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna play it off, and you go, okay, you got me. Okay, you got me in my messed up suit here. Okay, boom. You're not gonna attack the guy. And how many comedians have actually hosted the Oscars? And they've ripped everybody in the crowd.
Look at Ricky Gervais.
Oh,
I mean, he's vicious.
Oh, he was vicious. I mean, Billy Crystal. I mean, guys have been up there and they have like really ripped people, and no one attacked.
Yeah, that's host 101 for the Oscars. You gotta have a strong act.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't think Will Smith would have done that. Let's say instead of Chris Rock, it would have been The Rock, and The Rock said something. And then would he went up there and slapped The Rock upside his bald head? No. Because The Rock would have gave him the people's elbow, and he would have fell. He'd probably been in convulsions. But Will Smith felt like he could get away with that because Chris Rock is not the kind of guy that would have came back at him. But with that said, though, I mean, if it would have been me, Mark, we had this discussion, okay? America, let me just throw this out to you. If you get anybody out there getting any ideas, because you hear me talking tough on my podcast, I'm just going to tell you right now. If there's one guy out there getting any ideas, ever think about walking up and slapping Stacey King, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to end well. I'm just going to tell you. And I'm not going to be a Chris Rock and laugh it off. I'm just going to tell you. I hope it never happens, America, because I love all the people. I'm a people's champion. I love the people. I'm a man of the people, okay? I love everybody, okay? I'll spread love.
Oh, okay, well.
Okay? But I don't want someone to walk up and try to test me because I've been talking trash on my podcast because, trust me, it will not go well. I asked Mark Shanowski this before the show today. I said, Mark, if you was up there doing the Bulls, the Bulls pre and post game, they used to have it out in front of the atrium, and all the crowd would be out there and they'd always, record the crowd. I said, what if someone would have done you like that and walked up and said, Shanowski, you suck, and smacked you? And Mark was like, I don't know. Tell him, Mark. I'm not going to tell you what you said. Tell him what you said, Mark. Tell him what you said.
I would have had my people handle it. I'd have security.
Oh, now you got people.
Yeah, I got people.
So I got lawyers for.
Yeah. He got people. Yeah. See. Go ahead, Mark.
Rock was all by himself out there.
Listen,
there were no people with him.
Let me tell you something. About Chris Rock. This is what I would have done. If I was Chris Rock, not Stacey King, if I was Chris Rock, he'd have slapped me. I'd have fell down on that stage like I was a salmon out of water. I'd have been flopping. I would have said, I can't feel my legs. I got whiplash. I want $250 million. But I'll take 100 and we'll settle out of court.
Or you pick on someone smaller than you. Chris Rick should have walked down and then slapped Jada.
I don't know. Jada might have whooped somebody else for real. Jada, hey, I ain't messing with Jada. Jada, hey, listen.
She'd kill you with
hey,
that look.
all I'm gonna say about Jada is that listen. The disease that she supposedly has, alopecia, is not a life-threatening or it's not stage 4 cancer. It's not that. And Chris Rock, to his defense, might not have known that she had that. Not a lot of people knew that until I didn't know she had that until it was brought up at the Oscars. So maybe he didn't know that that's what she had, and he was just seeing her with her head being shaved, and
And he probably didn't write that joke either.
No,
he's just writing a joke somebody handed to him.
Exactly. So he should have slapped the person that wrote the joke. So shit rolls downhill. Will slap me, I'm gonna slap you. So I'm gonna go back there and find a guy who wrote the joke. Hey, Bill. Hey, Billy, come I need to talk to you. Man, hey, Dan, Chris, I'm really sorry about that joke, man. I saw what Will did to you. You know what, Billy? You're right. Smack! And I smacked him upside his head. There you go, Pavel. That's what you got to do. Yeah. I'm sure that guy who wrote that joke was probably a little nervous. Like, he probably didn't show up to work. He probably left when the slap went down. He's like, I'm checking out today. I'll see you guys later. I hope to catch you at next year's Oscars, and I hope I don't have to write any more damn jokes. I'm out of here. Beep, beep. Drive home safely.
Pavel liked that one. I think that's the first time I've heard a giggle from Pavel.
Oh, man.
Some much laughing people. He just likes that.
Yeah. Pavel doesn't laugh too much, but Pavel's a serious America. If you don't know Pavel, let's just give you a little bit about DJ Pavel, right? Pavel doesn't laugh a lot. Okay, he complains a lot. Okay, there's a difference. Okay, there's a difference. Okay, he's got this like threatening look on his face every time. So like the English, sometimes we talk too fast for Pavel. Okay, so when we get to talking too fast, Pavel gets upset. He almost attacks Mark Shanowski almost on a daily basis. Mark's telling him, hit this music here, do this, and Pavel's like, hey. What did you say?
Yeah, but his understanding of the English language kind of comes and goes at his own choosing.
Yeah, you know what? And wait a minute, America, let me tell you what I did DJ Pavel. Okay, so we have these little meetings that we text. We have group text, right? Yeah. So we're texting, boom, boom, boom. DJ Pavel's always talking about he can't read the text. Like, I didn't know what you said. I don't know what you're asking for. Da-da-da. So this is what your boy Stacey did, America. I went out and got a translator to put on my phone so I can actually translate English to Russian. Okay, so now I'm sending the text via Russian so he can understand. So Mark will send him something in English, and then he'll put like a question mark like he doesn't understand it. Right. So then I'll say, okay, I'm going to write down the same thing and put it in Russian. Okay, and America. He still doesn't understand it. I don't know. Maybe it's this different dialect. I don't know.
Someone's playing.
But he's playing us. I don't think he's Russian. I think the guy's from New Mexico, to be honest with you. I don't know, America. What do you think?
It's like that old Saturday Night Live sketch with Ronald Reagan, where he's acting like he's the old doting grandfather, and as soon as everybody gets out of the room, he's doing all these moves. All right, we're going to go over here. We're going to fire missiles. That's Pavel for you. Pavel knows a lot more than he's letting on.
Yes. Pavel, we love you, though, man. We love you, man. You've been a great addition to the show, and, we don't know what we do without you.
Bienvenido a mi slapping.
Yeah.
His own mix.
Little self-promotion. Little self-promotion out there. Way to go, Pavel.
And we have a lovely parting gift, some atomic barbecue sauce.
And she'll like it too. Woo!
Hey, we were talking a little baseball with Adam earlier, and one of the things we didn't bring up on last week's show was Carlos Correa signing with the Minnesota Twins. We thought he might come to the Cubs because when we had him on the show, he talked about how much he loved Wrigley Field and the whole atmosphere there. But this contract he signed with the Twins was a 3-year contract, but he's got opt-outs after each of the first 2. So it's really only a 1-year deal. So this is going to be revisited again after the season.
Well, I mean, when we had him on the show, as you said, Mark, he was talking about how much he loves Chicago. And then up until once free agency started, he was, in the press, he was talking about Chicago and the Yankees. The Twins you didn't even hear the Minnesota Twins. And then all of a sudden, Carlos Correa signs with the Minnesota Twins. Like, what? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, wait till it snows for opening day for him.
Yeah. When it's cold outside, he doesn't know about Minnesota. It's beautiful in the summertime, but it's like Chicago. It's like Chicago in the spring. It's cold. Yeah. There could be snow on the field. But, it'll be interesting to see what he does after this year, because if he puts up monster numbers in his first year with Minnesota, which I think that's what he's banking on, then he's going to get the contract. He wants that Seager contract. He wants that type of contract. And he's a big time talent.
And Scott Boras wants the full commission because he changed agents to Scott Boras. Now Scott will sign him to that big contract next year when he gets all the money.
I'm in the wrong business. I should be an agent, man. I should be a baseball agent, man. They make a lot of money. Scott Boras and what's the Lee the football
Steinberg.
Guy. Steinberg.
Yeah.
Those guys make David Falk.
Some serious coin.
David Falk. I don't know, America. You might not know who David Falk is, but he was Michael Jordan's agent. Okay, there's a funny story about him. Okay, so he was my agent too, because when I was in college, I said, man, I want Michael Jordan's agent, because I'm seeing Michael on Gatorade, I'm seeing him on Hanes underwear commercial. I'm like, I want to get that guy, because he was the only NBA player besides Magic and Bird that you ever saw on TV and Dr. J. So Michael, probably took the mantle from those guys and started getting more commercials. So I said, McDonald's and stuff like that. So I said, whoever's his agent, that's who I want to get. So I signed with David Falk. Funny story, America. So this is how big David Falk is. David Falk, matter of fact, I want to say that, and this is rumors that the Jerry Maguire was based off of David Falk and Steinberg, both of those two guys, because they were the most powerful sports agents out there. So this is how powerful, David Falk is. So David Falk's got all the big names. He's got Pat Ewing, he's got, Jordan. He's got freaking John Stockton. I mean, he's got all these top guys. And so, when I would call David Falk, as a rookie, and I'm one of these guys, I'm low maintenance. I don't need to hear from my agent every day. There's certain guys that have to hear from their agent every day. I could care less. And I told David, I said, Dave, if I come with you, I'm not going to be a high maintenance guy. I don't need to talk to you every day. I'm not trying to be your friend, because David always wants to be your friend. He wants to be cool with you. He wants to give you a dap. He wants to be one of the guys. And it's just kind of creepy, when you're 22 years old and this guy's like 50 something. He wants to be, be cool and stuff.
Right.
So I never really got into that. But he's a great guy. So when my first and second year in the league, whenever I needed to talk to him, I told him, when I need to talk to you, answer the phone, because I'm not going to call you every day. So I would call David Falk, and Falk would his secretary to answer. Say hello. I said, "Is David in?" "Oh, Stacey, how you doing? How the kids? Blah blah blah." David's in a meeting." "Oh, really? Okay. Can you have him call me back? I need to talk to him about certain things." Wouldn't hear from him till later in the afternoon. So every time I would call him, Mark, he would never answer the phone. A lot of guys were complaining about that. So I'm me being, witty and quick-witted. I know these things. So I said, I know how I'll get in. I'll see if he'll answer the phone if I call as someone else. So I would call in, and the secretary, "Hello?" I said, "Yes, David in." "Who's this?" "It's Michael Jordan." "I need to talk to David." "Michael, how's the kids? How's Juanita?" "Everything's good. I need to talk to David now." And then all of a sudden, he'd answer the phone. "Hold on, Michael, I'll patch you right through." And he'd answer the phone. MJ, how you doing?" "Say no damn MJ. This is Stacey King. I've been trying to call you for 2 weeks. Now you just answer the phone because I'm Michael Jordan?" "No, Stacey, I was going to get back to you." I'm like, that's some BS, Dave.
Yeah.
And then he would do that. It would do like 3 or 4 more times I would do that. I'd call us Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone. Gary Payton. I would call us someone different every single time, and I would get right through. I was like, man, I said, this dude is a trip. Like, I can't get in my name. I got to be somebody else. You got to be a superstar player to get in. But yeah, it's my David Falk story. America.
You don't have that problem now with your agent, do you?
No. You know what? Let me tell you something, America. I got a great agent. Yes. Alan Sanders is, he's my media agent, and he's an awesome dude, man. He's if I've had agents, Mark, if they tell you it's raining outside, you literally have to walk out there and go check, okay? They because they couldn't tell you let me tell you a funny story. Okay, so we're talking about agents. So when I first got into, the media part of it, the broadcasting part of it, I didn't know anything about agents. I thought they were all the same. I thought I'm going to hire my basketball agent to be my agent. No, you can't do that. You got to have an entertainment agent. So I hired this one guy in Chicago. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to front him out. So Comcast they just came over from sports and what is it, Sportnet or whatever before they were Comcast. They were something else.
Sports Vision.
Actually
Fox Sports is what
they
were.
So they
Fox
came
Sports
over to Comcast and so they were getting ready to do the pre and post game for the first time. Then they're going to do the Bulls pre and post game. So they approached me. They said, "Hey, would you want to do it?" Yada yada. I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be great." So the agent goes in, says, "I'm going to get you a good deal." Yada yada. I'm like, "Cool." So he goes in, he comes back to me, he says, "Yeah, I got a really good deal for you, and it's $400. $400 for what?" What are you talking about? 400 because at that time they didn't have the whole Bulls game. They only had like 30.
Right, because GN
had it. So he's like, $400 for per show, yada yada. And I'm like, all right, no problem, because you got to crawl before you walk, and the money wasn't even an issue. I just wanted to get my foot in the door and get the experience. So I was like, cool. So then the next year came. Okay, I went through the whole year with that $400 a deal. So it was no problem. So the next year came. So he said, because we were year to year. So he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna get you another deal, yada yada." All right, cool. He comes back to me. He said, "All right, got the deal done." All right, I'm thinking it's gonna be more. He's like, "It's $400." I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, what are you
And wait
doing?
a minute, here's the kicker. So I said, well, don't you get a raise if they say you're doing a good job and whatever? He's like, well, I did the best I could. And then he's gonna charge me 4%.
Yeah.
4% of that little cheap money that he got right there, and I was just like, are you really going to take your percentage out of this? I could have walked in there myself and got this
easily. Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, but I mean, I really worked hard, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'll make sure I do not give you any references or anybody. I fired him right on the spot.
Yeah, I had an agent out of New York when I first came to Chicago in 1990, and signed a first contract. First contract, you never get what you think you're worth.
Yeah.
So the guy's like, "Oh, we'll get him next time. We'll get him next time."
Win one for the Gipper speech.
So the next contract's coming up, and I'm excited. I'm like, "All right, you can do some negotiating, you can get something good for me this time." He goes, "Yeah, don't worry, I'll take care of it." And it's almost the exact same story. Got me this real small raise, and acting like he was a hero.
Yeah.
He got this little bit of money, and I was paying 10%.
Oh.
So that was the end of that. I've never had an agent ever since.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a little bit different than the sports agent, because the basketball agent or the football agent or the baseball agent, they know where the market is. So when I came in as the 6th pick in the draft in '89, first of all, you start off as what the 6th pick made the year before, and then you go from there. So it's kind of, it's pretty much set. And, but when you're dealing with the media part of it, it's a little bit different, because it's, based on, how many sponsors that they may have and all this other stuff. And Comcast was just getting started. So and me not knowing the business, like I didn't know any of this stuff. I just knew about the basketball part of it and being an agent. But as far as the media, I didn't know anything about it. And needless to say that I learned very quickly. That you need someone that's really good at knows what they're doing and knows the market and it's going to roll up the sleeves. And ever since then, like my man Alan Sanders out of New York, I've never had to worry about anything. He goes in there and like I said, if he tells me it's raining, I don't even question it. I go grab an umbrella.
The umbrella. Yeah.
I grab the umbrella. If he tell me the sun is shining, grab your sunglasses and some sunscreen. I'm bringing it with me, brother.
So, advice for all you aspiring young broadcasters out there: do it yourself, because most agents don't know what they're doing.
Yes, so. Don't fall for the old banana in the tailpipe trick. Yeah. When they say I can get you this, and then the next year you come back, you're making the same damn thing. And then the crazy thing about the little $400 thing is I had to drive all the way down from up north,
pay to park,
like you're talking, pay to park. Yeah. Didn't get reimbursed for that. Yeah. And I'm like, well, geez, I'm almost be working for free. But my whole thing, and I tell any aspiring, anybody who's trying to do this and trying to get in this business, is you have to crawl before you walk. Right. It's not about the money. It's
experience is most important.
It's all about experience. And if you can afford to not have to worry about where your next check is coming in, you got to do what you got to do, because that's experience is everything. And I would do it all over again. I would take that. I would take zero. I mean, if that's what it meant for me to advance and to get better at what I'm doing. And then after that, every door has been open and the rest is history. So,
who we work with at Comcast? Well, first it was Luke Stuckmeyer. Then it was yours truly.
Yes.
So, and Stacey became a star working in the booth with, wasn't Pippen with you that first year?
Well, it's a funny story about that.
A lot of funny stories. That's why I'm teeing him up.
Yeah, a lot of funny stories about that. Yeah, Pip, the funny thing about it was, Pip was scheduled to be the replacement for Johnny in the beginning, okay? Because they felt like, star power, Scottie Pippen, yada, yada. And so they gave him the first crack at it, and I was still doing the pre and post game. And he made a comment one time in the Washington series when they played with when they went against Larry Hughes and Gilbert Arenas and those guys in that playoff series. Mm-hmm. Somebody hit a 3-point shot. Somebody took a 3-point shot for the Wizards. I think it might have been Gilbert Arenas hit a big shot. And Scotty goes, man, he had some big balls to take that shot. And in TV, you have to watch what you say. Yeah. And even now it's even a little bit more, there's a lot more critiquing now than what it was back then. But he said, yeah, you got to have some big, I think it was like you got to have big balls or big nuts or something to take that shot. And then one of the head guys at Comcast at the time was sitting there watching, like, oh, we got to get this guy out there. We got to get him out there. And so that's how that happened. And then
we got to get a guy who says, open your mouth and take it.
Wow, we're trying to forget that, Tim. You know what? We're trying to forget that, Tim. Okay, you just but at the same time, it's like, you have to, as a young broadcaster, any opportunity that'll get you in front of the camera,
Yep.
You take it.
Yep.
You know, don't be picky and choosy and they're not paying me enough. You know, because you know what? There's 1,000 people who would do it for less. Will do it for less. And so and in the NBA, I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. It's like in the NBA when you're talking about like the play-by-play guys. You look at the play-by-play guys in the NBA, Mark, those guys are there for 30, 40 years. They like die on the job. Seriously. Those jobs don't come open. And when one is open because somebody retired after 35, 40 years, and then it opens up. But you have to wait a long time. Matter of fact, you could be a 25-year-old. By the time you get your first gig, you could be 45.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because those guys, they stay in those jobs.
It's a tough field to crack. It's kind of like Tim, the business mogul. You got any advice for aspiring young businessmen out there?
Well, if they don't die, sometimes you got to go out and kill them. That's the title.
Oh my God!
That's the title of my next book.
Is that the motto underneath the Teleray letterhead?
Yeah, free bumper stickers.
If they don't die, you got to go out and kill them.
That's right.
So when you go to all these business conventions, is that what you're telling people when you're having these conversations?
You know, sometimes they won't even talk to me now.
They see Tim coming in, they run the other way.
Let's go this way, buddy. We don't want to talk to that guy.
That has happened.
Never gonna give you up.
Yeah, I start dancing too and singing. Yeah, that drives me away too.
The Rick Astley.
Oh my God, that's Rick Ansley, everybody. That's Tim's second name. It's Clay Aiken and Rick Ansley.
Oh, wow.
They're not gonna die. You have to kill them. Oh, my
that's
goodness.
a nice one.
Words to live by. It's on your business card.
Yeah,
right on the back.
Yeah, I might have to use that one. You know, ladies and gentlemen, for you who buy the hot sauce and you get the man code violations, this is the man right here who's correct. So when you're reading those cards, this is the man right here. Timmy Whispers is the guy who created the man code card.
Well, that's from hanging out with you for 30 years.
30 years of abuse.
I finally learned the rules.
30 years of abuse. 30 years of abuse. It's a Friday.
Yeah.
You know, was there any stuff in the keg today?
Both are full.
Yeah.
But you know,
Stacey's drinking orange soda. Tim's drinking water.
He didn't tell us.
Pablo's drinking hot sauce. I was
waiting as soon as the show ends. I'll be sprinting over there.
Wow.
Thank God
it's just like the damn barbecue. I had to go out and buy a Traeger grill because I can't. My friend never invites me over. You know, he's like, hey, I'm going to invite you over next week. Never hear from him. Don't answer the phone call. I call him up. Hey, man, weren't we supposed to grill on Saturday?
Oh, next week.
No, that's wait. We're gonna have the Give Me the Hot Sauce crew over in 2 weeks.
I like to surprise you guys. Don't come.
Yeah, you really surprised us.
Oh, I didn't know you guys were going out of town this weekend. It's just the weekend.
Wow. Selfish. All
right.
30 years of abuse.
Before we wrap this up, there's a big event going on in New Orleans this weekend, the Final Four, and they got a fantastic field. There were some upsets early, but you got 4 Blue Bloods, North Carolina and Duke in one semifinal, Villanova against Kansas in the other. Let's start with Whispers. Give me the finalists and who's going to win it all.
Geez, I thought Villanova was going to look good. They lost their guy, so now you got to go with Kansas and Duke. And then I think it's going to be skewed to have Krzyzewski walk away with.
Think you might get a couple of calls along the way?
Disney's in control here. They've already started writing the script. It's over. You're going to see some terrible calls, and they're going to win at the end.
Stace?
Carolina and Kansas in the finals, and Carolina winning. I think they're getting hot at the right time. I was watching them play. They got size. They beat Duke at Cameron Indoor Arena. You know, and they're just playing with a lot of confidence. The one guard, number 2.
For which team?
For Carolina. The kid had like 35. That was like. Was shooting the crap out of the ball. I forgot his name, but
Caleb Love.
Yeah, that kid is for real. And then, I want North Carolina fans. North Carolina, if we got any fans from North Carolina that happen to live in North Carolina or big Carolina fans, I just want you to I want you guys to say thank you to the University of Oklahoma. I want you to send some flowers, send cards, say thank you very much for allowing you guys to have Brady Manick on your team. Because Brady Manick has got you out to the Final Four. Brady Manick like Larry Bird out there. And when he was at Oklahoma, he was doing the same thing. And had he stayed here, we had 3 or 4 kids that made it to the Sweet 16, Elite 8 that transferred out of the portal. If Porter Moser has those guys, Oklahoma is in that situation. We had Brady Manick from Carolina who was there. We had the kid from Miami, the shooting guard from Miami, Stuckley or something. I don't remember his name. But he came from Oklahoma, left in the portal. We had a kid from Harmon from Oregon who was from Oklahoma. And then we had another guard that was from Oklahoma. So there was 4 kids that were in the portal that transferred because, their coach left and didn't want to play for Porter Moser, new coach, new system. And that really, and Porter had a good season. I mean, because when I saw those, I ain't going to lie. When I went out and saw him this summer and I saw the team that he's going to have, I mean, he's pretty much piecing things together. He was getting kids in the portal as well. And he's a great coach. A couple of years, that team's going to be elevated. But when I was actually looking at his roster, and before I even met the players, I was just looking at them like, man, they'd be lucky to win 8 games. I mean, seriously, they didn't even look like a college team. Like, seriously, they did not look like a Division I college team. And then watching them play this year, just they exceeded all expectation. They had some huge upsets. They beat some top teams. They beat Alabama when Alabama was in the top 10. They beat Baylor.
Nice
they beat Baylor, who was in the top 5 before the NCAA tournament. And matter of fact, that's probably one of the reasons why Baylor ended up losing, because they were playing bad at the end of the year, and Oklahoma beat them in the Big 12 tournament. If they'd won one more game, they lost to Texas Tech by 1 point. And Texas Tech went pretty deep in the tournament. I think they went Sweet 16. The Sooners are back, baby. I'm just gonna throw that.
Yeah,
out
and
there.
they made a nice run in the NIT, lost a close game.
We don't.
Xavier
You know what?
ended up
Oklahoma.
winning that, right?
You know, Mark. In Oklahoma, we don't. University of Oklahoma, Sooner basketball. We don't count the NIT.
Right.
Okay, we don't acknowledge the NIT. So don't ever bring that up again. Okay, we don't acknowledge that. We only talk about NCAA. Okay, NIT. No, that's like going to the dollar store. We're not going to the dollar store, Mark. We're going to Target. Or we're going to Walmart. We're going to name brand. Okay, right now. Okay, don't ever bring up the NIT to me again, Mark. Okay, because I've been known to throat punch a person when they say that. That's degrading. That's degrading to the University of Oklahoma. An alumni. I don't want to hear that. We don't acknowledge that. I didn't even watch it. I didn't care how they did. I didn't care. Okay, if it wasn't NCAA, we didn't talk about it. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I guess that ends that topic. I've got Duke beating North Carolina. I've got Kansas beating Villanova, and I'm rooting for Coach K. When I first came to Chicago, I got a phone call from Coach K's secretary. I think it was 1991 or 92, and I'm just a young guy, 4th guy in a 4-man staff, and she says, I'm looking for Mark Shanowski. I'm like, this is him. Coach K was wondering if you could MC a banquet that he's going to be appearing at. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I wanted to say why, but you want to be a little bit proud and go, well, I think I could check my schedule and see if I can work that in. So this was a big event, and I introduced him, got to meet his wife, and his kids were really little at the time. And then later, when they were closing Weber High School in Chicago, he asked me to do another event for him. So I got a lot of respect for Coach K. I know people with Duke either love him or you hate him, but he's been a good guy throughout his career in terms of my dealings with him. So I'm rooting for Duke. That'd be a great story for him to win the last one.
You're a Disney guy, so there we go.
Plus, my daughter wins her pool at work if Duke wins. So that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, hold up, Mark. So he just picked your name randomly?
Because I was a Polish sports.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
That was it.
Okay, that's what I was getting ready to say.
I
I knew it wasn't because of his looks, and he had a big salad at the time. Because Mark's got a salad now. Mark's one of the few people that has not aged. He got real hair because I pulled it a couple times to make sure that he didn't have a toupee. Okay,
Don't hold it for the throat punch.
The 2-inch punch.
So Mark's got real hair. So I just want to throw that out there, Eric. He's got his salad. So because I was wondering, like he picked you out of 4 people, because I was getting ready to say it had to be because of your last name.
Yeah.
That's racist.
Yeah, Coach C.
That's a racist. He didn't pick Johnson or Black or Anderson, but he picked Shanowski. Oh, that sounds like a Polish name. I'm gonna pick that guy.
But I did the event. It was great. He sent me a bunch of Duke gear, first class.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's a cool story. That's a real cool story. Have you seen him since though? Have you kept in contact?
Yeah,
with
we
him?
vacation in the Hamptons and stuff. No, I know.
No, you shut up though, because he handpicked you.
I did see him at a Duke was competing in something at the United Center. I had a chance to go up and talk to him.
Yeah, that's like being friends for life. I mean, you don't hang out like I don't hang out with Tim every day, but we're still friends. You know what I'm saying? I can call Tim up once every 6 months. How you doing?
Well, this is great. We're going to have Coach K on now as a guest.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm going to call in that friendship from 30 years ago.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, 30 years.
We wanted to get a guest with a Polish last name, so I went for Krzyzewski.
Oh, yeah. Timmy whispers, "You're thinking like a champion, son."
There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Pablo's ready to start his weekend. He's looking at his phone. He's pretty much
Yeah.
checked out. Pablo, how about playing the music as we get out of here? That's the wrong
Yeah.
music, but that's okay. We like
Yeah.
it. Thank God it's Friday.
Oh, happy hour, and I'm happy.
Don't we have any Will Smith?
Oh,
Little
Slappy.
me slappy.
That's terrible, man. That's
There
terrible.
you go, Pablo.
There you go, Pablo. Drive home safely, Chicago. Beep, beep.